I remember the day my neighbor Clara, who was 73 at the time, nearly collapsed on her front porch. She'd been feeling dizzy for weeks, but always blamed it on just getting older. That morning, she stepped outside to grab the newspaper and suddenly found herself sinking to her knees. I rushed over, and after we helped her inside, she revealed something surprising. Her doctor had recently increased her blood pressure medication. Yet instead of feeling better, Clara was exhausted and lightheaded all the time. That was her wake-up call. The moment she realized the medication meant to protect her heart might actually be harming her health. It's a story I've heard repeated by countless seniors who've dutifully taken their prescribed pills, never questioning whether the dosage or type of medication could be causing more harm than good. High blood pressure is a legitimate concern, especially as we age. Left unmanaged, it can lead to serious problems like stroke or heart attack. But what happens when the very solution designed to shield you becomes a hidden threat? For many seniors, that's exactly what's happening. They're trusting that more medication automatically means better control, only to discover alarming side effects that creep into their daily lives. Think about what's at stake here: your independence, your ability to enjoy time with family, even your sense of personal safety. If your blood pressure medication leads to fatigue, dizziness, or mental confusion, it can unravel your confidence in getting through the day. One moment, you're volunteering at your local community center or taking a leisurely walk around the neighborhood. The next, you're afraid to stand up too quickly for fear of blacking out. Or maybe you're noticing swelling in your ankles that's limiting your mobility. All these issues can chip away at the joy and freedom you've worked so hard to maintain in your senior years. My goal here is to show you the 5 key signs your blood pressure medication may be doing more harm than good after age 70. If you stay with me through each sign, you'll come away with a much clearer understanding of what to watch for, why these warning signals matter, and how you can discuss them with a healthcare professional so you can get the right help. Don't miss the final sign because it's the one almost nobody talks about, yet it might be the clearest indicator that you need to reconsider your medication strategy. Scientific research and forward-thinking doctors are beginning to pay closer attention to how standard blood pressure treatments affect seniors specifically. The truth is, older bodies process medications differently. Certain dosages might be appropriate for a 50-year-old, but can wreak havoc on someone in their late 70s or 80s. I've seen seniors who feel powerless, like they must follow the doctor's orders no matter the fallout. But this isn't about refusing medical care. It's about informed decisions, personal responsibility, and taking a proactive stance when it comes to your own well-being. Before we dive in, if you're interested in more content that speaks directly to the senior experience, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on your notifications. That way, you'll never miss a video that could help you safeguard your health and maintain your independence. Also, if you find this information useful, type 1 in the comments to let me know. If not, type 0, and I'll do my best to improve future videos. Your feedback truly matters because it helps shape the topics I cover, ensuring they're relevant, accurate, and most of all, helpful to people just like you. Let's explore the 5 warning signs that your blood pressure medication might be causing more harm than good. Signs that, if caught early, can potentially save you a lot of distress, keep you safely on your feet, and preserve the vitality you deserve at this stage of life. Number 1 might sound familiar because so many people overlook it: extreme fatigue that doesn't match your normal energy patterns. I'm not talking about a little tiredness after a busy day. I mean the kind of bone-deep exhaustion that makes you want to lie down at odd hours and robs you of the motivation to do your usual activities. There's a reason it's the first on our list. Sometimes seniors assume feeling wiped out is part of getting older, but not all fatigue is natural. Often it's a clue that your medication is lowering your blood pressure too much or affecting your circulation in ways that leave you constantly drained. If you've ever wondered why you can't get through the day without multiple naps, or even naps fail to refresh you, consider the possibility that your prescription might be overdosed or simply not the right one for your physiology. It's a common misconception that as you age, you must accept a gradual decrease in energy. Yes, it's true that our energy changes over time, but the reality is that proper blood pressure management should stabilize your energy, not zap it. We've been told for years that more medication is automatically better. Yet what doctors are discovering is that for people over 70, the line between effective and excessive can be razor thin. Remember Don, a 76-year-old former construction worker whose life revolved around helping his grandchildren with home improvement projects. He started noticing that just a few minutes of mild physical activity left him feeling drained. He'd pause to catch his breath and realize he couldn't keep going. Don's doctor had added a second blood pressure medication to handle occasional spikes, believing it was safer than letting those spikes continue. But what no one told him was that these two different drugs were working together to keep his blood pressure so low, he was operating on fumes. Don decided to keep a simple daily journal for 2 weeks. Nothing fancy, just bullet points of how he felt each morning and evening. By day 4, a pattern emerged. Consistent feelings of heaviness, low stamina, and trouble focusing. Armed with that evidence, Don returned to his doctor and asked if the dosage could be reevaluated. The doctor adjusted Don's meds. Within a week, Don's energy soared back, and he was once again tinkering in the garage, making birdhouses with his grandson. The emotional benefit of addressing fatigue is enormous. It's the difference between surrendering to the recliner each afternoon or feeling capable of pursuing hobbies, social events, and family gatherings without dread. If you suspect your lack of energy is tied to your blood pressure medication, start by tracking your daily energy levels. Write down how you feel at different times, especially after you've taken your pills. This real-time record is something concrete you can show your doctor. Instead of vague complaints, you have data. That simple step can lead to a medication adjustment that restores your energy and sense of purpose. Now, before I move on to the second sign, I'd like to check in with you. If you're still listening and finding this information helpful, type 2 in the comments. Your engagement lets me know you're here and that these insights are meaningful to you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment to do so. It's a simple action that ensures you won't miss future videos that focus on real-world solutions to the challenges seniors face every day. The second sign is persistent dizziness or frequent fainting spells. Picture this. You're getting up from your favorite armchair and suddenly the room swirls. Or you step into the shower and feel a jolt of unsteadiness that makes you grasp the wall for support. That moment of uncertainty can be terrifying, and the fear of falling is very real. Many seniors blame this on poor balance or think it's just a quirk of aging, but sometimes the culprit is too much medication lowering your blood pressure so drastically that your brain experiences a brief shortage of blood flow. This phenomenon, known as orthostatic hypotension, can make you feel like the ground is shifting beneath you. If left unchecked, it can lead to actual falls, broken bones, or a loss of confidence that keeps you from everyday tasks. A common misconception is that if your blood pressure readings look perfect on paper, like 120/80, you have no reason to suspect a problem. But the reality is that optimal blood pressure can vary from person to person. For a fit 60-year-old, 120/80 might be ideal. For an 85-year-old with a different health history, that might be borderline too low, especially if they have additional conditions or are on multiple medications. Take the story of Iris, age 80. She was proud of her readings, which stayed around 115/75 thanks to her medication. But she noticed a pattern of getting lightheaded every time she stood up too quickly. One afternoon, she fainted while gardening, scraping her arms on the concrete. Her children insisted she see a different doctor for a second opinion. This new physician pointed out that while Iris's numbers looked fine, the medication dosage might be unnecessarily aggressive for her age group. After a gradual reduction in medication, her fainting spells stopped, and her confidence in everyday activities returned. The surprising insight is that a normal reading doesn't always equal a healthy outcome for seniors. Being willing to question whether your medication is too strong can be life-saving. A practical step? If you find yourself dizzy upon standing, measure your blood pressure both sitting and standing, if you can do so safely. A significant drop might indicate orthostatic hypotension. Bring those readings to your doctor's attention. Remember, your goal isn't simply to achieve a textbook perfect number, it's to feel steady and safe in your daily life. Emotionally, reducing dizziness can restore your sense of freedom. You can walk to the mailbox or hop in the car for a quick trip to the store without that nagging anxiety of what if I fall? That peace of mind is priceless, and it might only require a conversation with your healthcare provider about adjusting your dosage. Moving on to the third sign, which is memory lapses or confusion that seem out of character. One day, you might find yourself standing in the kitchen wondering why you went in there, or you draw a blank on the name of a friend you've known for decades. Occasional forgetfulness is normal at any age, but a sudden or severe drop in mental clarity can indicate that your blood pressure medication is affecting the blood flow to your brain. After all, your brain is a powerhouse that requires a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to function optimally. A common misconception is that cognitive decline is inevitable past a certain age. Oh, I'm just having a senior moment. While it's true that your brain changes over time, sharp and sudden dips in memory or focus can be a red flag that something else is at play. For seniors on high doses of blood pressure pills, the reality is that even a slight drop in circulation can trigger confusion or fuzzy thinking. I want to share the story of Paul, who was 82 when his family grew concerned about his sudden forgetfulness. He'd always been organized, keeping track of birthdays, appointments, and even his finances without help. When he started misplacing his checkbook and missing scheduled visits with friends, they suspected early dementia. Yet Paul felt fine in every other way, so his daughter pushed for more thorough testing. The surprising truth? His new blood pressure regimen had lowered his blood pressure to the point that his brain wasn't receiving the blood flow it needed. By adjusting the dosage and introducing mild exercise, Paul's clarity returned, and his so-called dementia symptoms disappeared. Imagine how devastating it can be to lose your mental sharpness when it's actually preventable. The emotional benefit of fixing this issue is tremendous because cognition ties into every aspect of your independence. Everything from handling finances to maintaining social connections. One practical tip is to do short mental exercises at various points in the day to gauge your clarity. For example, quickly recall what you ate for breakfast or recite a phone number you know by heart. If you find these simple tasks becoming noticeably harder, it might be worth investigating if your blood pressure meds are part of the problem. We often talk about memory lapses as if they're an unavoidable feature of aging. But if the cause is medication-induced, you have a real chance to regain your mental clarity and preserve the sharp thinking you need to truly enjoy the years ahead. The fourth sign is swelling in the feet, ankles, or legs, or difficulty breathing that seems to appear or worsen after you started or increased your medication. Let me paint a picture for you. You notice that your shoes feel tight, or you have sock marks around your ankles that weren't there before. Maybe you're feeling more winded after walking up just a few steps, even though you used to manage them without issue. These might be subtle hints at first, but they can escalate quickly. Here's the misconception. If my heart is being protected by this medication, how could it possibly be causing swelling or breathing difficulties? The reality is that some blood pressure drugs can lead to fluid retention, making your legs swell or your lungs feel more congested. This can be especially true if you're taking certain calcium channel blockers, among other medications. What's meant to expand your blood vessels and lower your blood pressure can sometimes disrupt your fluid balance. Consider Nancy, 77, who loved taking her evening stroll around the neighborhood. She noticed her ankles started to swell shortly after her doctor added a new drug to her regimen. Before long, her regular mile-long walk turned into a labored half-mile because she felt breathless. At first, Nancy assumed her aging heart was simply growing weaker, but an observant nurse at her local community clinic asked about her medications, pointing out that some seniors experience fluid buildup as a side effect. Once Nancy's dosage was tweaked, her swelling went down, and she could breathe more easily, returning to the walk she cherished. The surprising insight is that a medication intended to prevent heart strain can contribute to fluid retention, ironically placing extra strain on your body in a different way. The practical step here is to keep a close eye on sudden changes in your ankles, legs, or any shortness of breath that doesn't improve with rest. It might help to take a quick photo of your feet each day or mark how high any swelling reaches. This can be incredibly useful in identifying a trend and providing visual proof to your healthcare provider. If you're experiencing this, addressing it can give you back the freedom to move comfortably. Emotionally, it also alleviates the frustration and discouragement that come with not being able to do something as simple as walk or climb stairs. You'll find joy in reclaiming those everyday activities, and you'll feel a sense of control over your health once again. Before we continue, I want to check in with you again. We're now at sign number 4. If you're still engaged and learning something valuable, please type 4 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. When you subscribe, you ensure you'll get more insights that can help you navigate the complexities of aging with confidence and peace of mind. Your participation also signals to me that you find this content worthwhile, which motivates me to keep sharing these crucial topics. Now let's talk about the 5th sign, which is rarely discussed but can be a clear alarm bell. Sudden mood changes or increased feelings of depression or anxiety that you didn't experience before. High blood pressure medications focus primarily on the cardiovascular system, but your body is deeply interconnected. When blood flow, hormones, or electrolyte balances are altered, it can affect your emotional well-being. One might think depression and anxiety are mental health issues, not related to my heart medication. That's a common misconception, but the reality is that any significant shift in your body's chemistry can influence your mood. For instance, beta blockers, often prescribed for blood pressure, can sometimes slow your heart rate and make you feel lethargic or emotionally dampened. This isn't to say everyone on beta blockers will feel blue, but it's certainly something to keep on your radar if you notice unexplained changes in your emotional state. To illustrate this, meet Harold, 79, who was known in his community for his upbeat personality and witty remarks. He loved joking around with neighbors and family. After his medication was adjusted following a mild stroke, Harold's family noticed he was uncharacteristically irritable, anxious, and withdrawn. Initially, they attributed it to the stress of recovering from a stroke. Yet Harold recognized that something felt off, like a cloud settling over him that he couldn't shake. When he mentioned these changes to a mental health counselor, she suggested evaluating his medication as a possible contributing factor. Indeed, Harold's doctor confirmed that one of the drugs he was on could affect his mood. Adjusting the treatment plan helped him gradually return to his warm, sociable self. The surprising insight here is that your mental health is tied to your cardiovascular health. Feeling persistently anxious or depressed can create a vicious cycle. Your emotional distress might affect your physical health, which in turn exacerbates emotional challenges. A practical step is to track your mood in a simple diary, noting any changes or triggers. Pay special attention to when you take your medication. If you notice a pattern, perhaps you feel more anxious an hour or two after swallowing your pills. This could be an essential clue. The emotional benefit of addressing this issue is obvious. Restoring your mood means you can enjoy your relationships, hobbies, and daily life without that weight of unexplained sadness or worry. It also fosters stronger connections with family and friends because they see you in your true light rather than the clouded version caused by imbalanced medication. Those are the 5 signs to watch for: extreme fatigue, persistent dizziness or fainting spells, memory lapses or confusion, swelling or difficulty breathing, and sudden mood changes. If any of these resonate with you, don't ignore them. While high blood pressure is a serious concern, overtreatment or the wrong type of medication can be just as threatening, chipping away at your quality of life in ways you might not have anticipated. Take a moment to imagine how your life could be different if you address these warning signs now. You'd have more energy to spend time with loved ones, greater mental clarity to stay independent, fewer worries about falling or injuring yourself, and the emotional stability to truly savor your days. Think of it as an investment in the future you still want to enjoy, one where you're not held back by side effects that undermine the very benefits your medication is supposed to provide. I know it can feel overwhelming to question your treatment plan, especially if your doctor is confident that your blood pressure readings look great on paper. But this is your body, your life, and you have every right to inquire about whether you're being over-medicated. If this sparks concern, a practical first step is to gather data, just like Don did with his journal or Iris with her second opinion. Speak up and ask your doctor if a dosage adjustment or a different medication might serve you better at this stage in life. Sometimes even a small tweak can make a significant difference. Which of these signs struck a chord with you? Think about your recent experiences. Maybe you felt more tired than usual or have had unexplained bouts of confusion. Perhaps you're uneasy about that persistent ankle swelling or the subtle changes in your mood. Reflect on how these might be impacting your daily life. Now consider one action you could take this week, whether it's keeping a daily symptom log, scheduling a medication review, or simply talking to a loved one about what you're noticing. Each of these small steps can help you move toward a better understanding of your body and how to care for it. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know which sign resonated with you the most and how you plan to respond. Maybe you've already made changes that improved your well-being. If so, your story could inspire someone else. And if you have lingering questions or concerns, airing them might be the first step toward finding a solution. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. That single click of support allows us to continue creating and sharing insights that empower seniors to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. You never know who in your circle might need this information. Sometimes passing it along can be an act of genuine care. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you leave feeling more informed and more confident about having the conversations you need with your doctor or loved ones. Most importantly, never forget that you have the power to shape your health journey. While medications can be invaluable, the right balance is key. By recognizing these warning signs early and taking the appropriate steps, you can reclaim your energy, clarity, and emotional well-being, ensuring that the years ahead are as vibrant and fulfilling as you've always hoped they could be.